You don't know this about me, but I've got about 3,000 hours now, but I still don't have my tailwheel endorsement. So we're gonna remedy that today in this. Let's go check it out. This is my good friend Doug. He's gonna be my instructor pilot today in his Cub. And just to give you guys a little bit of insight of who he is, he's also a Missionary Bush Pilot. But Doug, where did you used to fly?
I flew in Colombia, Panama, and Venezuela.
And what did you fly?
I flew primarily Cessna 185, that was a tail wheel, and a 206 as well.
Awesome. Now how long did you fly down there for?
Altogether, around 18 years I was on the field flying. So,
oh wow.
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, well let's go flying now that the rain has stopped. We've been waiting all morning for it to stop, and as you can see, it's gonna be a really muddy plane when we're done. Before we get started, if you're a regular viewer, stay tuned to the end. I do have an announcement specifically for you. Well, I was thinking this morning on the way here, how long has it been since I have flown tailwheel? This fall will be 10 years.
Well, you know how they say it's like riding a bicycle.
Sometimes you're just not quite as good at riding that bicycle. So why don't you walk me through everything that you would do as simple terms as possible. So in case somebody else was wanting to do this on their flight sim, fly this plane, they would have a little bit of understanding on what they're looking at here.
All right. The mixture is a ballpark set for this altitude, which is around 4,000 feet in our area, and you would run it full rich if you were somewhere in the Midwest at, under 1,000 feet. This airplane has an impulse coupling, which is a starting aid on the left mag only. So you start it on the left mag, and then once it's running, you flip on the right one.
Okay.
You see the master switch right there, the red one, and then off to the right of that, the avionics power, which should be off.
Okay.
And we're just about out of excuses here.
Okay. And does this have a key? Oh, it's starter button up here.
All it has is a starter button.
Okay.
Yep.
Master's on.
Give it a little prime. You just pull the primer out from its lock.
Oh my gosh.
Let it fill, push it in once. That's probably enough.
I can't remember the last time I've flown something like this.
And have your hand on the throttle.
That is up here.
Yep. Now and flip on the left mag.
Yep.
And your battery is already on, so punch that starter button.
Okay.
You might have to wiggle the throttle a little bit to make it start.
Okay, clear.
Yep, here we go.
Don't see anybody around.
Make it noise. There you go.
Anything have to do with the stick while I'm taxiing, or not so much?
Generally speaking, we taxi with the stick full back.
Full back, okay.
You would not get this airplane to go over on its nose very easily with my fanny in it, but that's general tail dragger etiquette.
Run up here?
Yeah, we're doing a run up right here. We'll go to 1,800 RPM holding the heel brakes.
So that's just take a little while to figure out how to do them at an angle. Do you normally have your feet like this?
Yes, I do.
All right.
A little less so back here actually than up there, but yeah.
All right, 1,800 RPM?
1,800, one mag at a time, looking for 75 to 100 drop each.
All right, there's 1,800.
All righty.
And left mag. Drop of about 100.
Yep.
Right mag, drop of 100.
This is the carb heat right there. It'll drop at about 100 as well.
Yep.
Yep.
About 75 today.
There you go.
And that be that?
You just did the run up. If you've got oil pressure and you know your controls are free and correct, you're pretty much there.
Well, I've got all full control, and
while we're taxiing, I'm going to tell you that we're going to take off with 2 clicks of flaps. There are 3. There are 3 total. You can actually pull up. You can pull the flaps down without pushing the button. But to make them go back up or lever down, you've got to unload that button and push down on it and go gently down to the floor. And slower is better.
All right, so
it avoids the sinking feeling. Yes, you should cycle those once.
You just get the feeling of them.
You can hardly feel the first click.
Okay, there's the first click, I think?
That's second.
Oh, that's the second.
That's 2. That's how we'll take off. When you take off, Yep. Directional control is king. You don't have to push the tail up necessarily. It'll come up by itself. Okay. But if you help it a little with some forward stick, it helps, and it'll come up a little quicker. And then the faster you accelerate, the less forward stick you end up having. And then when you kind of hit a neutral point, it's basically ready for a little bit of a tug and flies, and it'll fly. And it probably will do that without you tugging. It'll just tend to fly away. All right. The tail comes up, you accelerate to 40-ish, and somewhere shortly around 40, it wants to fly. Okay. And then you pitch to accelerate to 50 with 2 clicks of flaps, 50 miles an hour, not knots. Yep. 50 miles an hour. And we'll climb out with 2 clicks of flaps for a minute, and then we'll ease the flaps off and go to a 60 to 65 climb. All right. It doesn't make a lot of difference. Sounds good. Go ahead and put your second notch of flap out. There it is. That's it. We're there. Ethnos Air, Super Cub 2364 Papa departing runway 17, and we're going to remain in the pattern for a bit. Ethnos Air. Okay, let's go. Here we go. I will come in with any input necessary to keep everything on track. You can anticipate a little tug to the left when you raise the tail, but it's little. Tail's coming up. Yep. Just keep her dead straight. We're almost touching 40. It would fly right now if you tugged on it. There you go. Now just let it accelerate to 50. That's the one between 40 and 60. Off we go. Anytime you like, you can push the button and ease it all the way down to the floor and pitch for 60. And does this have any trim or anything like that? It has a trim right here. All right, that feels a heck of a lot better. There we go. Yeah, I feel like this is so touchy from what I'm used to. It is a very sensitive little airplane. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna have to get used to the most. I think flying these smaller stuff is just All right, so then once we're up here, you pull her back to around 2200 RPM. That's our putt-putt RPM for downwind. We'll give you a nice long final, and I'll talk you through, and I'll help if I need to. Okay. We'll do a 3-point. We always start with 3 points. All right. I view wheel landings as a fairly advanced maneuver. It takes Explain what a 3-point is, just for someone who's never heard of it. A 3-point is when you are landing with all 3 wheels touching the ground at the same time, so ideally. Just stalling it kind of like you would with anything. Yep, exactly. A wheel landing is when you bring it down to the runway, same basic approach, and I'd say the same speed. And then you basically stop the descent right over the runway, and when the wheels touch, you push forward on the stick. And so the airplane is up on its front wheels for the first part of the landing. And then you gradually let the tail come down. What speed are we looking for approach speed? You can pull a click of flaps right here. 1 click. Yep. And you're good on speed. 70's good here. Now you can hang a left right here for your base. And what about for final? What are we looking for speed-wise? Final, we're looking at, we'll say 55 today. 55, okay. Now you can pull that second notch, and you're going to find that with every notch that you pull out, you've got to crank some down trim, which is clockwise. We like to be 60 or better at this point. Okay. Now go ahead and roll into your turn onto final. We got an east wind up here pushing us a little bit. And full flaps. And full flaps. Where's my trim? Yeah, it's there somewhere. Yep, and as you work your way in closer. I'll land just past that water up there just because save ourselves a little bit of washing time. Now you're going to have a sight picture, challenge going on because this thing sits fairly low to the ground compared to what you're flying normally. But it's fairly forgiving. I'll talk you through it. Yeah, we'll land after that place that's going across. You're plenty fast. We're going 55-ish? Yeah, 55, which is good. Keep the power in there. One thing you don't want to do is pull the power out too soon because it drags up in a hurry. Looking sweet. Now you can start squeezing the power off and just easy does it on the pitch. Just hold it right about there and let it settle. Let it settle. You just landed. I didn't touch nothing. That was a good first landing, dude. Thanks.
I didn't touch anything. I just talked you through.
I feel like I'm trying to shove on like the toe brakes,
Yes.
but then it's kind of hard to hit your toe brakes and your heel brakes at the same time. It's kind of a very awkward feel. Okay, let's go 20 degrees.
20 degrees of flaps, and you can go from here.
All right, it'd be nice if everything was about 6 inches more forward.
Yes, I totally agree.
All right.
People must have been shaped different in 55. That's all I could say.
All right, airspeed is alive.
Airspeed's alive. Tail can come up. Tail can come higher than that if you want.
Okay.
There you go. That'll accelerate a little better. She'll fly right here.
Okay.
Yep.
There we go. And rotate.
Pitch for 50. The little thing runs out of airspeed pretty fast with the power off and the pitch coming up. Right about in here. Now just hold it level, and when it sinks, pull back some more, and when it sinks, pull back some more, and just plunk. There you are. You're doing good. There's nothing wrong. I haven't seen anything that I've never seen before with a guy that's first doing this. You did a good job.
All right. All right, 10 degrees of flaps.
Yep. Flaps are at 10.
Rotate at what?
Yeah, the tail will come up about the same. Might blow through 40 a little faster, so let's just see.
Okay. All right, airspeed is alive.
Yep, just keep her like that. Level attitude. Yep, there you go. See how it popped up to 50 pretty quick?
Yeah, once it gets going, I should have had it trimmed out. It probably would have been a little bit easier.
Might have been a little easier. Yep.
As far as crosswind landings in a tail wheel, what's the best?
Well, is
it a 3-point or is
depends on the pilot. I say you can land at 3-point in a crosswind just fine. You know, it's still, you know, wing down into the wind, opposite rudder, maintain directional control. Airplane's a little draggier. It might run out of airspeed a little quicker, you know, in the landing flare. And then you know, it's conventional. When you're doing a wheel landing, you've got a little more control, at least while you're fast. You know, while you're coming in at in a level attitude.
Yep.
But, you know, you're still crossing the airplane a little bit, you know, in the flare. And you touch down, and then that point that I've told you about, when they're in the transition tail up to tail down, that's where it's pretty squirrely.
Okay.
And that's where you really want to, you know, really have a laser focus on directional. Yeah. That's usually what bites you.
Okay.
Guys will come in a crosswind, make a pretty decent touchdown, or maybe an ugly one, get a bounce, and they're trying to drive it on, which is a terrible thing. I say if you're trying for a wheelie and you bounce it, either power and lead and land again 3-point, or just go around.
Yeah. Okay.
But never try to check the bounce, try to get it to time right so you can drive it on. You're asking for it. You're asking for a bent prop.
All right, there's full flaps.
Yep.
Turning final. Get some trim in here. We're at 60, going to 55. Feeling a little bit more comfortable finding this trim now. And
yeah, after a while you can start to develop
it's a very light touch on the yoke, that's for sure.
Yep. I usually fly crab like this until I get down in the flare, and then I just do whatever it takes to align the airplane with the ground track.
All right.
Hey, just back on the stick and just wait for it. Plunk, there you go. The beautiful thing about a Cub is the wing stalls gradually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we were up in the air a few feet, you know, but you can just hold the nose up there and just pull it back to idle, and it'll just come down and plunk on. It's such a puppy dog.
All right, now you said
one flap.
Okay,
that you can reach it. And you kind of want to be able to reach down there while you're looking ahead and pull that little sucker up.
Okay. So when I get about 40?
Yep.
All the way up.
Maybe even a tad less.
All right.
Than 40. Yeah.
Get going.
Give it a try. This will work your directional and kind of adding another thing to do.
Yep, that's what you do. Fly the tail early. All right. Go ahead and pull it. Pull back, just a tweak. Yep. See how she goes? Now go for 45 with the full flaps. And it feels a little sloppy, but it's flying, and you're up in the air, so then you can ease off the flaps to 2, and then ease them off to the floor, and go for a regular climb. And you'd get better at that, you know, as you did it. Some guys do that all the time.
It doesn't feel like we've got 15 to 20 knots of wind.
Yeah.
It's sticking straight out, though.
It is.
Oh, that's a tiny one, though.
Yeah.
Is that an actual...
I think
20 knot one though?
I think it is, but I'm not positive.
Watch out, bird.
Now, on this next one, we're going to keep just a little power in while we're hunting for the ground.
Okay.
And when the wheels touch, we're going to ease forward on the stick a little bit. And if it goes ugly, we'll just go around.
Okay.
We need to go around or 2 anyway.
All right.
That's also on the list.
We're just going to add a tiny bit of power and then just kind of, as we're getting down, rather than keep flaring, we're just going to push the nose more flat.
Okay. Yep. We're going to keep the airplane flying with a little bit of power and full flaps and just ease it down to the runway. And when you feel it touch, sometimes it's a bump and stick. You'll feel it bump. You ease forward on the stick. It's just a little thing like that.
Okay.
And then you can pull the power to idle and just keep the airplane straight as the tail comes down.
Okay.
Now, you know, that's what a wheel landing is. And it'll keep you busy, and it may be ugly the first time. You know, this is more art than science, especially when it's a little breezy like we got it going here.
Doug, moment of truth.
Okay.
The signage.
It's the signage.
Doug, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate you taking the time out today. Yep. This is the next step in my journey on what I'd like to accomplish this year. So, step 1 down, many more to go.
Good time.
Yeah. You guys, that was so much fun. Like I said, I haven't flown this plane in like 10 years, even a tail wheel in 10 years, and man, it was so much fun. I'm so glad I was able to do it, get that written off, because this is the very next step in what my plans are. Like I said, I had an announcement. My announcement is a couple of different things. Number 1, I'm looking for a plane to buy. I maybe have found one. I'll hopefully get some more news on that in the next week or so, and that's why I was getting my tail wheel endorsement, because it is a tail wheel. Second thing, I am thinking of changing the channel name to Mr. Bush Pilot. Now, before you guys all freak out and your keyboard warriors down there tell me why I'm doing things wrong, the reason I'm thinking about doing it is because I would like to make some partnerships with some companies, and I feel like having the name Missionary in my name is actually hurting me right now. So really, it's strict, don't read into it. It's strictly just a business-minded idea, looking forward out into the years to come on how I can build this brand and what that brand might look like. So leave a comment down below what you guys think. I'll probably mention this a couple of more times before I actually make the decision, because I want to give you guys heads up, and so that it's not just a shock going, whoa, what is this and where did Ryan go? Mr. Bush Pilot, still everything the same kind of content, everything else just the name. So anyways, I really wanted to say a huge thank you also to all of you guys who have really built this channel. I know that I make the videos, but you guys are the ones that watch it, and you guys are the ones commenting, and you guys are the ones sharing. And that's really what builds a channel. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you for all of you guys' support over the past few years, and just looking into this next year, as I am looking to maybe get a plane while I'm on home assignment. That's another thing I wanted to mention really quick. Everybody seems to be very confused on what home assignment is. Okay, real quick. What that means is as a missionary, every 4 years you spend overseas, you get 1 year of home assignment. Basically, the longer you work as a missionary, the less you get paid. I know it doesn't make much sense, but that's the truth. So we live on support, so sponsorship. So every 4 years, we come back to raise up support, more sponsorship to go do the job that nobody else actually wants to do. So that's what home assignment is. I'm here to raise up sponsorship, to head back, to continue doing the job that I'm doing. Anyway, wanted to clarify because I've had so many questions down below over the past couple months. What is this thing? Why are you home? What do you plan? What your plans are? Things like that. So hope you guys enjoyed this. A little bit different than normal. Hope you guys did enjoy something a little bit different than normal though. I know I did. So thanks guys, and see you next time.